Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be about version 3.0 of my tier list. Now, my tier list is probably the thing that I take the most serious and spend the most amount of time on. I would say if a given month is 30 days, I probably make a change in my tier list 25 out of 30 days. Almost every day, I'm going through and editing things, trying to constantly use input that I'm gathering, make changes, and try to kind of slowly get it to be as accurate as I can. It's never going to be perfect. I just try to use it as a template that people can use to kind of form an opinion about champions that they wouldn't otherwise have a clue about if they're new to the game, or if they're mid-game, or if they summon somebody new, all that good stuff. And I haven't updated it for about 5 months or so in terms of the formula that calculates overall value. So that's what this video is going to be. It's going to be showing you the changes I made, giving you a behind-the-scenes look into the process of building the tier list and all that good stuff. We'll just have a quick discussion about this thing once or twice a year so that you can stay in the loop about exactly what is going on the tier list. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, here is the tier list itself, and if you're on a PC, I don't know how this works on mobile, I never tried it, I'm always on my PC doing stuff with it, but you can click File, Make Copy, and then you have the tier list yourself on your PC, and you can change values that you disagree with, all that good stuff. You're able to play with it, it'll be yours, you can copy it and do with it what you wish. I do make changes, like I said, almost daily, so if you care about having the master copy, you'll want to stop by my stream or stop by one of my videos or on the Discord server, wherever you can find the link, and go ahead and renew the master copy every so often if you're actually making changes to it. And yeah, this is version 3.0. Version 1.0 was a much simpler tier list. It was just legendaries, epics, and rares in 3 different pages, and then all I did was rank them from first to worst. So number 1 would be somebody like Sify, and then the bottom would be like Astrolith or something on the legendaries. I would just rank them from 1 to last, and there was no breakdown of ranks in certain areas of the game. It wasn't sortable or anything like that. My tier list that I have right here is sortable. At least if you're on a PC, you can go over, let's say I want to sort by arena, I can go here and sort, and now you will see it's got Sify, Vault, Chris, Duchess, Mashaled, Arbiter, Warlord, Ray, Lysandra, Madame Saris, all the best arena champions in the game, and then you can go ahead over to the overall column and switch it back like that, and it's back to overall. So it's sortable by each area of the game. So it was good to make the 2.0 version a lot more in-depth and a lot more interactive. And the formula that calculates the overall rating of each champion for general utility on your account and how strong they are in general, there's a formula that weights each area of the game a different strength. Like, for example, arena and clan boss are going to be much more impactful if a champion is good in that area, as opposed to like the Ice Golem, where it's a much less important dungeon than the clan boss or the spider or the arena. So it's weighted to reflect that in the overall rating. And if you're curious about how that formula breaks down, I've got the numbers right here. You'll see on the top right of the screen. So the old version, the first version of this tier list, I had the book values unchanged. I had the clan boss as the most impactful area of the game. I've always said the clan boss is the best source of daily rewards to progress your account. You can get books, shards, immortal and cruel are both good pieces of gear. So it's one of the best and most consistent routes in the game in order to progress your account. So the clan boss in my original version was the most important area of the game. That has since changed. I'll dive into that soon when I talk about 3.0. Then it scaled down to the arena and the spider, the fire knight, faction wars, and all that good stuff. So that was the original grades. Then version 3.0 is what it is currently, and I'll walk you through the thought process and why I weighted it how I did. You'll see the arena got much more impactful. I took it from 14% of the weight up to 24. Back when I originally built version 2.0 and I built the version of the tier list you see on this video, the arena, to get to gold 4 and gold 3 and up into gold league, was much easier. You could do it with rares, you could do it with your starting champion, you could just build like a High Katoon and an Apothecary with a War Maiden and a Kale, and you could get gold 4 and you could farm it all day. So back then, 5-6 months ago, the landscape of the arena was much different. It's way tougher now. It's completely night and day. So champions that are good in the arena are going to be more impactful for your account. So that's one reason that I massively bumped up the importance of the arena for an overall grading of a champion. Also, 3v3 arena was not a thing. So now it looks like they're going to be having champions, legendaries you can get from the 3v3 shop. They have new artifacts that you can only get in the Bazaar, which is the 3v3 tag team arena where you get the gold bars. So when you couple the fact that 3v3 arena has come out and the arena is much more difficult to progress in, that's why you'll see the huge jump from a 14% weight to a 24% weight on the arena ranking. And Clan Boss stayed mostly unchanged from 20 to 22. Obviously, when I move arena up that much, points are going to have to get deducted from other places. But the Clan Boss still very important, slotting in at number 20. It's still a great source to progress your account daily and acquire, like I said, books, shards, all that good stuff. I took a lot of those points away from the XP farmer. You'll see it go from 5 to 1. And that's just because your starting champion can do it in like 12 seconds. So the scarcity of champions that are good at it is just not there. I mean, there's so many rares that are good campaign farmers, and Nightmare isn't significantly better than Brutal. A lot of people would argue it's actually worse to farm Nightmare than it is to farm Brutal. So with that being the case, being a good XP farmer with AoE speed farming capability just isn't that important. So I bumped that down from 5 to 1. And Faction Wars, I bumped down from 10 to 7 because there's been a couple shifts that would cause that. Back when I made the version 2.0, Faction Wars was a lot tougher. I think there's been 1 or 2 iterations where they have gone through and made Faction Wars a little bit easier. They've nerfed it a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic. When Faction Wars first came out, it was insanely difficult. So that's why champions being really good in Faction Wars had a little bit more impact back then. But Faction Wars is still very important. Getting those glyphs is very important to build those high-end, end-game viable teams. So I didn't want to move it down too far. I kept it very viable from 10 to 7. And then for the Dragon, some of you may be confused. Dragon, I mean, a lot of people say that's the most important dungeon to farm because it's got speed, lifesteal, accuracy, lots of good sets in the Dragon. Why would you reduce the Dragon? And I did a little bit from 7 to 5 because the Dragon, yes, it's a very impactful dungeon. It's an important dungeon to really grind out lots of runs, but it's a pretty straightforward dungeon. There's no minions in the boss fight, and there's no special mechanics that you really need to worry about, like the Spider and the Fire Knight. When I do account takeovers, I would say 99% of the time, the problem and the request of that person wanting an account takeover is for Spider or Fire Knight. It's almost never for Dragon. And if it is for Dragon, it's, hey, my Dragon team's pretty good, but maybe look and see if we can speed up the time a little bit. It's almost never as complicated as the Spider and the Fire Knight in terms of needing some help to progress your account. So that's why I bumped down the Dragon a little bit. And likewise, that same point, it's why I bumped up the Spider and the Fire Knight a little bit, because they're just too common in terms of people struggling to progress. So champions that are really good in the Spider and the Fire Knight are very impactful for account progression. Then I bumped down the Ice Golem a little bit from 4 to 2. I don't really need to dive into why. The Golem is kind of thought of as the least impactful dungeon to grind over and over in terms of endgame viability for the sets. The sets are actually pretty decent for early game players. The crit rate, the HP sets, all that stuff can be very good in the early game, but it doesn't scale into the end game like the Fire Knight with the Savage and the immunity and all that good stuff, or the Dragon with the speed, or the banners and artifacts of the Spider. The Golem does not scale as a dungeon into the end game nearly as effective as those dungeons. And then the Potion Keeps mostly unchanged. Well, not mostly, they are unchanged. They're all just, you can see the 0 there for the change. Minotaur staying at 2. The most important ones are going to be the Spirit and the Magic Keep. That's why they are 3s and the other ones are 2s, because the Spirit and Magic Keep have special mechanics to them that can make them a little bit more difficult in the early to mid game, with the massive heals of the Spirit boss where you need to bring heal reduction, and then the Magic Keep with the massive shields that you need to remove. So you have to have buff removal and block buffs, all that good stuff, so that you can take down the Magic boss. So the Spirit and the Magic are kind of the toughest and most special in terms of needing the right mechanics to clear the dungeon. So that's why they are a little bit tougher being 3s instead of 2s. But yeah, guys, I'll wrap this up. I don't want to ramble for too long. I did just want to give you a little bit of insight because it's been a long time, 5 months or so, since I've done a video and changed the formula. So I just wanted to get a quick video out there, you know, getting you behind the curtain on what's going on in terms of designing the tier list and having the overall rating be weighted, how it's weighted, why it's weighted like that. And I also love input. If you agree or disagree, definitely let me know. I'm not going to be offended if you disagree. If you say, hey, why is this champion rated this here? Or why did you weight this like this? And why is it not higher than this dungeon? I love that kind of stuff. I love reading through and getting that input because it makes my capability to make it as accurate as possible even higher. The more I know, the more I learn from the community. There's lots of times on stream where somebody will be like, why did you rate this champion this and this champion this when they're both equally as good in that area? And I'll pull it up and be like, oh, wow, you're right. Like, let me go ahead and change that. So that happens all the time. Like I said, I edit this thing almost every day. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be people that can come in and disagree. But I love to gather input and edit it as often as I can to make it as accurate as possible and make it better as we go week to week to week and get it slowly more and more accurate, hopefully. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I would love to hear your opinions on what you think. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.